My name is Lori Ross. I'm the Director of Girl Experience for Girl Scouts of Tropical Florida, and we want to welcome you to our very first Camp Out program. We have a great program planned for you tonight, and we want to get started as soon as we can. I just want to go over a couple of things, logistics for you so that we can make your experience the best it can be. First off, we want to encourage you to set your video view on speaker view. If you go up to where you see everybody's pictures, you'll see a bunch of little square things there. And if you click on the one, if you hover over those and you click on the one that says speaker view, click on that, and then you'll be sure you're seeing everybody who is speaking. Additionally, we want to make sure that you leave your microphone on mute so that we can get rid of any background noise, and make sure that everybody can hear the speaker clearly. You can use the chat, but the main chat is really for questions for our speakers. If you see some of your friends on here, you can go ahead and private chat them. But please just reserve the main chat for questions for our speakers. And we'll be asking throughout the night. If you have questions, you can go ahead and type them in the chat. We may not get to all of them, but we'll be doing our best to make sure that we're following any that we don't get to. And then let's see. One more thing is you should know that we are recording this event. And the recording of the program will be available when we wrap things up. So make sure that you're following us on our social media, Facebook and Instagram, and we'll post on there when the recording's ready for you to view. So let's get on with it then, shall we? Yeah, we ready? All right. So I want to introduce you to some really amazing people who have been instrumental in putting our event together tonight. Our friends at the College of Arts, Sciences, and Education at Florida International University are responsible for setting up our virtual star party, first one ever for us, and I believe them. Is that right, Daniel and Nick? Yeah. And first for them too. Also the ones who put together the physics of building a blanket information that you had and the contest. And then last and just as exciting is they're the ones who introduced us to our special guests, Dr. Maria and Dr. James Webb, who will be joining us later. So thank you. I want to say thank you to Daniel right now and Nick. Hi, Nick and Elaine. You guys are awesome, and thank you for everything. And there were some other folks at FIU who out too with social media and all that too. So we are so grateful to you for helping us bring this fabulous program to our Girl Scouts. So thank you. They've asked me to let you know that if you kind of missed out on the blanket fort competition, that they're gonna extend it a little bit. So you have, I believe, until 9 a.m. on Monday to submit photographs of your blanket fort, and it'll be entered into that competition. If you win, you will get an autographed copy of Dr. Mayar's book called Pink Boots and a Machete. It's a very cool book. I read it last weekend, and I know that you'll be inspired and love it. So the details for that blanket fort competition are in the Camp In packet you were sent. And then you can also look on our Facebook and our Instagram pages for details as well. So you have until Monday. Go ahead and take those photos and share them with our friends at FIU CASE, and we'll announce that next week. Now let's see. There's one more thing that I wanted to mention, and that is make sure that you're following along in your Camp In packet that you were sent. There are lots of great activities in there, and if you can't get to all those activities tonight, there's certainly a lot of time for you to do it anytime you want actually. And so you could even make these activities part of a camp out when we're actually able to get together and go camping with our troops and our Girl Scout friends. So please hang on to that and make sure that you are learning from those activities as well. I'm going to hand it over to our super awesome Girl Scouts of Tropical Florida CEO, Chelsea.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much, Lori. I can't believe it. We're here. We made it to our camp in, camp out. This is such an exciting event. The energy, I want to tell you girls, right now, 28 participants, and we know that each one of you may have 2 or 3 or 4 people with you in your homes. So we are working with a few hundred people already tonight. And the energy that you girls are bringing already to the chat box is so exciting. We have missed you. I don't know how else to say it. We have missed you. We've missed seeing your faces. We've missed interacting. We've missed doing activities. We have missed you. And we know that while Girl Scouts isn't canceled, we've been doing it differently. And so we're excited that we're having this opportunity for us all to come together with such a big group and have this super exciting event. I really want to start by giving an attitude of gratitude, in particular to Lori, for the work in making we were able to make tonight extra special. We have some incredible guests that are going to be here that are zooming in from all over the United States, and I think we're going to even hit a couple of extra galaxies. So it's really going to be an incredible event. And so we're just so happy to have you here. I know there's some questions going on in the chat box. We're keeping an eye on that. We're doing our best to chat that, to chat back with you. Please remember that if you want to say hi to a friend, you see you have a friend on there, you can chat to her directly. You can do a private chat directly to her, so you can have your own little chat conversation going. We don't have to have everything going on in the chat box. So a couple of things. Yes, we will be using the spotlight feature tonight so that everybody can really see clearly who's talking. With a couple of hundred people in Zoom, it would be hard if it was just the small little box to know who's the person that's talking. So we're going to be using this spotlight feature tonight. So be sure we shared that. So welcome everyone. We are so excited to have you all here this evening. Before we go any further, we are Girl Scouts, and so we are going to start this event in the Girl Scout way. Peggy Wingard, who is the chair of our board of directors. She's a volunteer. She's been a troop leader. She's had so many different roles. So many of you have already met her. She's oftentimes comes to events dressed in special things. Sometimes she's Juliet Gordon-Lowe. Sometimes she's a woman in black. You never know what you're going to get. Peggy's the Girl Scout Promise. So Peggy, if you want to go ahead and get us started. Minute there. Do you want me to unmute you, Peggy? I will unmute you. Oh, there she is. Now remember oh, Peggy, you're on mute.
Okay, how's that? Can you hear me?
Yay!
I'm not used to this technical difficulty. Okay, 1, 2, 3. On my honor, I will try to serve God and my country.
To help people?
People from all, I know this. Help people from all, and to live by the Girl Scout law. You got it?
You got it, Peggy. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much, Peggy. So one of the things that we were talking about when we were preparing for today is that much like when we go camping, we make plans, and as Girl Scouts, we are prepared, and we plan for every possible scenario. And even when we made the best plans, we know sometimes things can kind of take a turn that we didn't expect. So when we go camping, sometimes we get rained on, and so we can't cook on the campfire because there's, the skies have opened and we're getting covered in rain. Sometimes, you know, there may be some loud noises at night that keep us up, and so we're not well rested the next day. And as Girl Scouts, we just improvise. And so the same thing for tonight. This is our first time hosting an event, having an event like this. And so sometimes we're going to have technical problems and technical challenges, and we just want to thank know that we're doing our best. We are prepared. We will improvise, and we're all going to be patient and kind to each other, and we're going to have a great time. So Peggy, thank you. You got yourself off of mute, and we did it. So thank you very much. Okay, before we continue tonight, there is one thing I would like to do. I'd like to just take a moment to reflect and ground ourselves in our values as Girl Scouts. Earlier today, the chair of the board of directors of Girl Scouts of the USA, Kathy Hopinken-Hannon, shared a statement that I would like to share with you. Girl Scouts are an increasingly diverse organization that stands for respect, equality, inclusion, and justice. We stand for empowering all girls in every community across our nation, from every background and every ability and in every economic circumstance, to create the change they want to see in the world. Girl Scouts continue to do incredible things and are truly making a difference. You girls are beacons of hope for a better future because of your actions and your courage. We are so proud to be with all of you here tonight to celebrate the accomplishments of girls from across our community. In addition to girls from tropical Florida tonight, we have girls who signed up from all across the country. So what I'd like to do is encourage you girls, both from Miami and from any place else in the United States. We hear there are even girls from Puerto Rico that have registered for tonight. Take advantage of that chat box and enter where you're from. You can write your neighborhood, you can write your city, you can write wherever you're from. And through the night, it'll be fun to see in the chat box all of the different communities and neighborhoods that are represented with us this evening. Okay? All right, and with that, I already see some names coming in. Miami, Raleigh, North Carolina, already in the house. So there you go. Philadelphia, Oklahoma City. Holy cow, I didn't know this part was gonna be this much fun. Let's just do this all night. We've got, where I saw Virginia, St. Louis, Missouri, North Palm Beach, Doral, Miami Springs, Pinecrest. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'll stop there. You all keep reading along, and I'm gonna hand it back to Lori because I would just do this all night long. This is so exciting. Okay, Lori, it's back to you.
Okay, all right, so we're gonna take a break right now, but be sure to meet us back here again at 7 o'clock, and we're going to meet some hometown heroes, and we're going to meet our cookies for hometown hero champs. Now's a good time to put any final touches on your blanket fort, to make your camp dinner, and if you haven't done so already, now is a really excellent time to go ahead and make your thank you sign for our hometown heroes. Definitely be sure that you are taking pictures of everything you're doing and sharing them at #STFOutdoors. And we'll keep track of everything that's going on in your homes right now. So come on back at 7 o'clock and we'll have some more fun.
No, I'm still here, right?
Everybody have dinner? Did you have a good dinner? We saw a lot of people eating camp food, trail mix, and crescent rolls. Peggy had crescent rolls. So I hope you all had a good dinner. We're gonna go ahead and get started. And I'm seeing some great photos on our Instagram feed. So as you're going through the activities tonight, make sure you're taking pictures of everything and sharing it with us at hashtag GSTF Doors. And we'll be able to share all that stuff on our social media. So for those of you who have attended our Cookie Palooza event, which is now called You, you will know our next guest. Firestein is the assistant AD of ticket sales for the University of Miami Athletics. And he's a great friend of Girl Scouts, and he is the guy who invented Cookie U. This year we worked with Mackie to develop our Sweet Salute to Hometown Heroes event. And that would have included a chance for girls to distribute cookies to local hometown heroes at a men's baseball game. And then it also would have included a Girl Scout campout on the field after the game, which would have been really super, super cool. But unfortunately, COVID happened and we had to do a quick pivot, and that's why we're here tonight. But Mackie is joining us tonight, and he's going to share with us his thoughts about our Sweet Salute to Hometown Heroes, and he's going to talk about the girls who were our top cookies for our Hometown Heroes champs, and he's going to announce the top troops. So Mackie, are you with us?
I am here.
Yay!
I am here. First of all, Chelsea and Lori, thank you very much for having me. Super excited to be joining. Ironically, Cookie U at the U started about 5 or 6 years ago, and at the same time, I was trying to, behind the scenes, to put together a sleepover program. So Lori knows the work that was done, and ironically, we got approved this year. We were super excited for it. First time ever an organization would have the chance of sleeping over at baseball after the game, and COVID happened. So Lori and I, behind the scenes, were trying to make it happen. Unfortunately, it was not able to work out, but definitely it's something that is going to continue in the future and will happen in the spring of 2021, barring any unforeseen issues. But definitely excited to hear. I want to talk a little bit about Cookie U and how the Hometown Hero program started. Throughout the last couple of years, we've built this really comprehensive program where we empower the girls to learn how to sell. They learn a comprehensive program, they get to experience stuff, and then they stay for a game. Coach Meyer wanted me to send her thoughts for you guys. Before I start, I want to give a shout out to all the parents out there. I have 2 young kids, so you all deserve a round of applause of being able to handle virtual school. I am thanking God that school is over and I can actually get some stuff done. I'm in actually the confines of my home office, which is kind of my man cave. That's why you see dolphins and stuff up there. But really want to give a shout out to all the parents. What we've gone through over the last 3 months is unprecedented. And girls, when you look back in 10 years, you remember where you were in the spring of 2020 in this, and there's gonna be a lot of history lessons on there. So definitely want to give a shout out to all the parents, as well as the girls that are in there. So nice job there. But that's not why I'm here. I'm here to talk about the Hometown Hero program that starts here. Basically what it is, it's a cookie donation program that at the end of the program, you have the ability to donate to military personnel, first responders, police and firefighters. And we were gonna plan at our game in March of giving out at least 500 cookies to all of them. But again, COVID happened, so we improvise in there. And I love the Zoom technology and all. But I wanted to give a shout out to a handful of girls who sold the most boxes for the program. So if they're on the call, they can take themselves on mute for a second as long as Lori allows it. That's her rules. So let's get started. The first one, Madison Patton, Troop 26, 225 boxes. Congratulations there. Next one, Sophia de Abreu, Troop 377, 208 boxes. Another phenomenal amount. Actually, I could do I'll do a little golf clap in there. Next one, from Troop 1239, Catherine Caceres, 208 boxes. Another phenomenal amount of cookies. So we actually have 3 that are over 200, which to me is amazing. So I'm sure a little bit has to do with Cookie U, but great job for the 3 of you. The next one from Troop 1239 again, Aubrey Rosenhaus, 156 boxes. From Troop 2823, Catherine Martin, 120 boxes. I'll give a thumbs up for that one, switch it up. From Troop 2823, Sarah Martin, 117 boxes. We actually have a tie here. And Troop 2564, Isabel Benitez, 117 boxes. So congratulations to the top selling girls. Now, the 2020 top selling cookie for Hometown Hero Troop is number 26 with a whopping 1,141 boxes. That is a lot of boxes. For anyone in there, when you guys are probably about 10 or 12 years, you want to give me a call if I'm still at Miami. Probably could use somebody like that on our sales staff. And then the troop with the top per average cookies for Hometown Hero was Troop 2564. And the average box number was 37. Once again, congratulations to all the girls who participated in the Cookies for Hometown Heroes program. We did really create this really cool patch. If our offices were open, I would have gone in and had it for a night, but unfortunately we got to improvise. But again, we really appreciate the relationship we have with the Girl Scouts of Tropical Florida. It's a great relationship that we look to expand over the years, and we look forward to seeing everybody in 2021 for Cookie U at the U, and again for Hometown Hero. So really appreciate all your support, and have a great event. Thank you.
Thank you, Mackie. Thank you so much. Thank you to University of Miami for always being such a great supporter of Girl Scouts. We love Cookie U, and we were so excited for our Field of Dreams Sweet Salute, and we know it's going to happen. The Overnight Odyssey will happen. I mean, it's happening tonight in a very unexpected way, but we will do it in person as well. 2021, here we come. Fingers crossed, everybody. Thank you again, Mackie. You're always such an incredible supporter. We are so appreciative of you. And congratulations to all of you girls who got shout outs tonight. Congratulations. And to all of you girls who participate in the Cookie program, where you are learning business skills, where you are learning entrepreneurship, marketing skills, you know, how to take care of, how to talk to customers, all of those things that you will use the rest of your lives. So kudos and congratulations to everybody, all of you girls. Now, as you know, we were celebrating right now the Hometown Hero program. And what would the Hometown Hero program be without bringing some hometown heroes to us tonight to join us and to share a little bit about what it's like to be a hometown hero. So we have 3 incredible women that we are going to introduce to you. I hope, girls, you've made some exciting signs that you can hold up. And so as our speakers, as we're introducing our hometown heroes, you can hold up your signs and they can see your words of appreciation. Also, girls, please know that some of your donated cookies will be going to these hometown heroes so they can share with their colleagues, with their coworkers. And these are people who have been working so extremely hard. I think especially when we think about COVID and we think about the pandemic and we think about the people who have been so essential. And it is our hometown heroes. Those are the people that we knew, hey, there are helpers out there. We're gonna be okay because we have these people in our community. So we're gonna start with our first hometown hero is a representative from the medical field. Her name is Karen Baez. I see her there.
Hi.
A registered nurse and currently serves as the director of ER and trauma at Jackson South. She oversees a team of 115 medical professionals. That's a lot. That's a lot of people. 115 nurses and medical professionals. And most recently worked on outpatient testing logistics for COVID-19, I believe. She'll correct me if I'm wrong. Karen was a Girl Scout growing up here in Miami, and she is now mother to a Daisy Girl Scout who we see hopping off and on right there with her. Karen, welcome. Girls, hold up your thank you signs, and Karen's gonna share a few words with us.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you for having us on here. I'm really proud of being part of our South Florida Girl Scout community and a mom to a Daisy and 2422. This is really oh, look at all those beautiful pictures. Thanks, girls. Oh, those are wonderful. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And thank you for having us on here. Oh, they're lovely. Thank you, girls. Really, really lovely. Thank you. It's really a pleasure for us to be able to provide service for our South Florida community from the Jackson Health System. Our mission is one standard of care for all citizens of Miami-Dade County, and we're really proud to carry that mission forward. Do you girls have any questions, or is there anything?
Girls, if you have questions, you can put them in the chat, and we're gonna thank you so much, Karen. Questions for all of our hometown heroes can go in the chat, and we are going to introduce our next hometown hero. She is a firefighter. Her name is Maggie Castro. She'll be coming on. I think we'll be seeing her very soon, jumping on. Maggie is a firefighter paramedic with Miami-Dade Fire Rescue for almost 16 years. She is the only woman on the department that is bid into technical rescue truck. Additionally, she is a member of our department's Black Heart extrication team. Okay, I have to tell you all, these are the people when there's really, really terrible car accidents and the helpers, responders come in and save those people that are stuck in those cars. She is one of them. It's amazing. This is incredible. She competes on a team that goes all over the world in very simulated car accident scenes with real people as patients. The team is currently ranked 3rd in the world and 1st in the medic category out of 30 teams that competed most recently. She is honored to be part of our virtual campout and to be considered one of our hometown heroes. So I think we're gonna get Maggie on so we can introduce her.
I was having a hard time trying to figure out how to work this.
Okay, well, we can hear you. I don't see you, but maybe the others
I
do.
see everybody on here. I see you.
Okay,
Maggie.
we see you. I see you. Girls, hold up your signs. Let's thank Maggie for her work. Maggie, can you share a few words with us?
Of course. Hi, everybody. I wish I could be there in person to say hi to all of you. Thank you for that great introduction. I really appreciate it. It's amazing to be a part of this. I am so honored that you guys have chosen me to be a part of your awesome day, your camp out. I just want to say that any of you girls that have ever thought that maybe possibly working as a firefighter would be something that you would like, it is the best career that I can ever think of. It's a career where you go to work every day, you're not really sure what's going to happen, and it's exciting. You can have one moment you're going to a car accident, the next moment you're going to someone who needs your assistance because they're having a medical emergency, and the next thing you can be going is to a big house fire. So the day is never dull. There's no 2 days that are exactly the same. It is the best job. It's the best feeling. We're a family. We're brothers and sisters, and sometimes we don't get along, and sometimes we get along really well, just like you guys do at home with your siblings, I'm sure. And I encourage all of you that if you've ever thought, man, that would be really cool, but I don't know, it might be tough, it will be tough. For sure, it will be tough. But there's no reason for you to ever think you can't do it. I want you guys to keep thinking that yes, this is something I can think of doing and something that I can become. And if any of you ever want to come over to the station and check things out, by all means, you're always welcome.
Thank you so much, Maggie. Thank you so much. I don't know if you figured out how to toggle so you can get into gallery view, but if you go over to gallery view, you'll be able to see girls holding up all the thank you signs that they've made for
The
our
gallery view. Oh, wait, there it is.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, there we
Wonderful.
go.
Okay. Thank you so much, Maggie. Now we're going to move on to our third hometown hero. Such an incredible lineup of amazing women that we've been able to bring together tonight. I'm so excited to introduce Police Chief Delma K. Noel Pratt. She is the police chief in the City of Miami Gardens Police Department. She has 27 years of police experience. She began her career as a public service aide for the Miami Police Department in 1989. And on May 1st, 2017, Chief Noel Pratt was sworn in as the first female police chief for the City of Miami Gardens Police Department. Her vision includes working in partnership with citizens and various community and civic organizations within the city to reduce crime and increase the quality of life within the city. Chief Noel Pratt, thank you so much for joining us. We're so excited. I was so excited when I learned about you, and one of our troop leaders, our Girl Scout troop leaders, made the connection with you. Would you like to share a few words with our girls? And girls, hold up your thank you signs.
Well, thank you, girls. It's such a pleasure to be here with you tonight. It's such an honor to be invited to speak to you all. I'm just really, really blessed to be here tonight. Just a little bit about the department that I supervise. There's about 312 individuals that I supervise. Out of that 312, 262 are sworn. And it's a great job to be the police chief of the Miami Gardens Police Department. Every day I get to do different things. It's not just sitting behind a desk, but it's also about going out, speaking to people in the community, participating with a lot of children that are roughly your age, just engaging with them and just letting them know that we care about them and that we're here to protect them and we're here to serve the community. So it's just an honor to be a police chief. Yes, it's been almost 28 years, but it just seems like it's day one to me because it's really true to my heart to protect and serve. And not only that, and I don't call it a job, but I call it the reason why I love to serve is my family. I have a husband that I've been married to for 23 years, and I have 3 daughters that I love dearly. One's 22, one's 19, and the other one is 17. And that's the reason why I truly love going out, protecting and serving, because I want to make sure that I'm portraying the best image and doing the best that I can so they'll have somebody to look up to. So thank you once again for the invite. It's truly a blessing to be here, truly a blessing to speak to you. And you can be anything that you want to be. I'm a person that I derived from London, England. A lot of people are like, where were you born? And I was born in London, England. And I lived in Detroit for a short period of time. And I always say I'm this little girl from London, England that has had so many different opportunities just because I stayed focused and I just kept pressing on and tried to be the best me that I could be. So once again, thank you for the invite, and I look forward to taking your questions and wonderful signs. I love all the signs that I'm seeing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you so much for your words. I do have a couple of questions. I'm going to have one for each of our hometown heroes. I'll just start with you, Chief. Actually, 2. One is a comment. Savannah from 32 wanted to say that she appreciates you in these times of protest. Thank you for your service. So thank you so much. My question for you is, did you find it difficult as a woman? Did you find obstacles in your work, in your career?
Yes, I did, because this is a male-dominated field. As a lot of you know, hardly ever do you see female police chiefs. However, I grew up in a household where my parents were from the islands, and they always pressed upon me to be the best me that I could be. And they always told me the importance of striving to be number one, not competing with anybody else, but just pushing myself to be the best that I can be. And so therefore, I always, when I had to take exams, I took them seriously. I made sure that I focused and I just did the best that I could, because I was always the type of person that I didn't want to take the exam again. I always wanted to strive and get, the number one ranking. So that's just a little bit about me.
Thank you so much. That's fantastic. It's so great to make this connection, and we look forward to connecting you with more girls,
Yes.
Girl Scouts in Miami Gardens. So we're going to make that connection.
Thank you.
Make that connection soon. It's so great meeting you. Thank you again. We have a question now for Karen Baez. Karen, we've got 2 questions for you. Isabella wants to know, how many people do you take care of in a year?
Wow, that's a great question to ask. So we see on average of over 3,000 patients a month. So that's a lot of patients. So about, 36,000 patients a year. So we do see a lot of patients within our hospital and within our emergency department. And it could be all sorts of patients. We see trauma patients because we are the trauma center down here in South Florida, we're the most southern trauma center as well within the United States. So we do see quite a bit of patients from heart attacks, strokes, and traumas as well. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for taking care of so many people. It's so important. And you're right. We are all the way down at the southern tip of the Florida Peninsula. So that makes us unique in our geography as well. There's another question for you, and that is, what is it like being a nurse during COVID-19?
So being a nurse during COVID-19 has definitely made us see nursing very differently. Our patients don't have family members available at the bedside. So we've had to transition not only from being a healthcare provider, but also being a family member. And I think, I really want to thank Chief Pratt during this time of turmoil that we have in our country. And I think it's very important when you see a woman like the chief in power or in a position that we are all part of the same race. We're all part of the human race, and we just need to be kind to each other and be equitable with each other, and we can get through these times. So thanks, Chief, and thanks for Maggie. My husband's also a public servant with Miami-Dade Fire Rescue, and we're really happy that my family is here to provide a service to our community.
Thank you so much. And you are right. A part of Girl Scout values is being kind and courteous and respecting authority. And I think during COVID and going on right now, if we reflect on our Girl Scout promise and law, if we ever have any doubt of how we should be behaving and how we should be treating others, the principles that will just get us through.
Chelsea, such very good. I want to just close out by saying thank you to the scouting community. I'm the mom also of an Eagle Scout, and I want these girls to set their goals high, and kind of like what Maggie said, nothing worthwhile is easy. And it's the price that we pay on our route there that makes us cherish those goals that we actually obtain that much sweeter. So set your goals high, know that it's a hard road, but you all can get there. The chief, Maggie, and I are in the positions that we can because we continue persevering, and you all can get there.
That's great. Thank you so much, Karen. That's such a
pleasure. Thank you.
Maggie, we have a couple of questions for you. Thank you for being game and a good sport for this. Here we go. Sophia and Natty from Troop 552 are wondering, what training do you have to undergo to be a firefighter?
Well, you start off by going to fire college. And then you also have to, we don't just do firefighting in South Florida. We do medical and firefighting. So we are mostly all firefighter paramedics. So you have to go to medical training as well. So you start with fire, you go to EMT school, and from EMT school, you go to paramedic school.
And so that's fantastic. Now I have another question for you, similar to the question for the police chief. Did you encounter any obstacles or challenges being a woman in a field that it's predominantly male?
Definitely it hasn't come without challenges. You just have to be confident in yourself. I always feel that the best way to kind of overcome these challenges that are posed by people that sometimes just do things because that's the way they've always been done, don't feel that everyone should have the same opportunity, is by just showing them that you're there to do the job, and no matter what they say or what they do, you're going to do the job to the best of your ability, and that's it. And that's how you should just hold every aspect in life. Always do the best you can. Always do things with the best of intent. Always try your best to do the right thing, and things will sort themselves.
That's fantastic. That's really great. This has been so wonderful having all three of you here. I think that, you know, one thing that is very important to us at Girl Scouts is that we know that girls do better when they can see people and have opportunities to see other people that look like them in that they are maybe interested in pursuing. And we do everything we can to put women in front of girls so they can see that there are so many opportunities for them. And I think tonight you've, you know, had a couple of 100 girls, 200, maybe more girls see and learn about careers that they may not have known about, and also see women that are in those fields and know that there's a place for them, that they can do it. You want to be a police chief? You can be a police chief. And I believe the world needs more women police chiefs because we need a lot of compassion in our police departments. You know, you want to be a fire, we need more women in the fire departments because women think differently sometimes and will take a different approach and maybe more, you know, think of things in a different way when they're going to fight a fire or to work as paramedics. And of course, in medical and healthcare, we know we need women. We need women there. Female patients are more comfortable, you know, working with other women and having a woman in the room, and it makes them feel more comfortable. So thank you all for being our hometown heroes tonight. We are so appreciative. Of course, you know, as I promised, cookies will be coming your way. These girls have worked very, very hard in the cookie season, the beginning of this year before COVID hit, and we have cookies to donate. And so we want to recognize you, your departments, and the teams where you work. So we will be making a delivery of cookies sometime next week. So thank you all so much for joining us. It's been a real pleasure. Now, girls, hold on. It's not over yet. We're going to turn it back over to Lori. We have more coming tonight. So Lori's going to walk us through next half hour and guide us into the final phase. Oh, but before I stop, you know, I could talk a lot. To our hometown heroes and special guests, you are welcome to stay with us all night. We have big stuff coming up. Literally, we're going to go out of the world. It is going to be amazing what's later. So you are welcome to stick around with us all night long. We're just so happy to have you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We did have one question pop up for all three of you. And that question was, were any of you Girl Scouts? Oh, Karen was a Girl Scout. Chief, were you a Girl Scout?
I wasn't a Girl Scout. I wanted to, but my mom didn't really know anything about Girl Scouts, so I wasn't in a troop. But maybe can I be in one now?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
And I'm an adult leader for my daughters as well. I help a little bit. It's been, I'm not as good, but I'm trying.
How about you, Maggie? Were you a Girl Scout?
I was not a Girl Scout. I wish I would have been. I think it would have been a lot of fun. But I also wanted to say, if any of the girls that are in high school and 14 and older, they can become junior cadets. If they can find out information from the department, they can, Karen, your son was a junior cadet, right?
I actually was the Explorer, 1603 back in 1986. Wow.
And we have the Police Explorers also, the same age range, 14 to 18. So if anybody wants to be a police explorer with our police department, by all means.
That's awesome. Girls, we'll get some information on the Police Explorers and the Fire Explorers, and we'll make sure that we make that available to you, because that's such great information, especially if you're interested in pursuing any of those careers. So thank you again to our hometown heroes. We're so glad you were with us this evening.
Thank you.
I'd just like to say one thing, Karen, that both my mom and one of my sisters, they were both nurses. They're retired RNs, and they worked at Jackson. So I know what you do is such a great job. And Maggie, I love watching Chicago Fire. That's like my thing. So I'm jealous of you because it makes me want to be a firefighter.
I get to work with Kelly.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm Kelly.
Yes.
If you all are reading the chat, you're being invited to join lots of troops. So there are lots of Girl Scout opportunities. The troops
Yeah.
are clamoring. They're clamoring. They want you.
Thank Chelsea, really thank the South Florida Council and Tropical for really having us. I think it's important to highlight women that are in positions and that we're really supporting each other. During this, COVID was one crisis. Now we have an additional crisis within our community, and that we're really here to support each other. And whatever hat we wear, as police, as fire, as medical personnel, we're really here for our South Florida community, united.
Thank you so much. That's such
Well
a, that's
said,
a,
Karen.
Very well said.
yes, thank you.
We had some amazing hometown heroes, everyone. I know that you are truly inspired. I am. But it's time for us to take another break. So be sure to come back at 8 because we have another amazing woman joining us at 8 o'clock. Our national CEO, Sylvia Acevedo, will be joining us for some good Girl Scout camp fun. So please join us back here at 8 o'clock, and we'll continue to have some inspiring women speaking with us. So see you at 8. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Look, this is amazing. We have a special presenter, everybody. Welcome back, everyone. I got to see all of you girls. Everyone was having so much fun in your tents and your forts and having dinner, and that was so exciting to see everyone. So we're back for our 8 o'clock portion of our camping out, and as you can see, we have an incredible special guest who is joining us tonight. This is Acevedo. She is the CEO of Girl Scouts of the USA. I want to make sure everybody understands why you are the perfect person to be our very special guest tonight. So can I take a minute to a little bit of your bio? Is that okay? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Sylvia Acevedo is an engineer, businesswoman, and executive. She holds a bachelor's degree in industrial engineering and was one of the first Hispanic students to graduate with earned a master's degree of science at Stanford University. She worked on NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, where she was involved in the Voyager 2 flyby of Jupiter. Is that right, Sylvia? She's also worked at Apple, Dell, Autodesk, and currently Sylvia has the best job on the planet. If you all know me, you know I say I have the best job. I mean I have the best job like in Miami and the Keys, because I get to be the CEO of Girl Scouts in Miami and the Keys. Sylvia gets to be the CEO of Girl Scouts all over the entire United States, Girl Scouts abroad as well, and in Puerto Rico. So she is an incredible, inspiring person to have us. We are so honored and thrilled to have you here tonight. Sylvia, welcome. Everybody do a buzz, yay. So Sylvia, I promise you get to talk. I'm not gonna do all the talking, but I just wanna kind of set the stage so you know what we've been doing. Earlier this evening, oh, there we go, let's see. Is she still there? There she is, yes. Earlier this evening, Sylvia, we had a welcome ceremony and then we took a little break. The girls got to finish their forts and their tents and make their camp dinners. And then at around 7 o'clock, we honored our hometown heroes. We had 3 incredible women join us tonight. One from the Miami-Dade County Fire Department who does rescue, car rescue from people who have been in car accidents. We had a registered nurse who works at Jackson South, which is the southernmost trauma center in the United States. And we also had a police chief, a woman, the police chief of the city of Miami Gardens. And so we thanked our hometown heroes. They will be receiving cookies from our Hometown Hero Cookie Donation Program. And now we're all settled into our tents and our forts. It's getting dark out, and we are for an adventure. And so we're so excited that you're here to kind of launch our adventure. A little bit about your Girl Scout experience and what had it happened with you in Girl Scouts that led you on the path that you're on now?
Okay. Hi, Chelsea. Hi, all of you. I am calling you from California. I'm like totally on the other coast. So it's so great to be here. I'm outdoors, so you're going to be hearing birds and things like that. You're definitely going to see that. And I'm in my backyard, so my dog might come and join us as well. So I hope you don't mind that. I'm so excited to be here. Chelsea's absolutely right. This is a perfect night because I know you're going to be stargazing. And I've been seeing and scrolling, reading some of the comments, and some of you have my book, Path to the Stars. So thanks a lot. And in that book, Path to the Stars, it talks about how to help let me be a rocket scientist and actually develop my potential. I have the coolest patch. So this is my CEO patch, and it is an homage to my Girl Scout story. So tonight you're going to look at the stars, and that matters a lot. When I was a young Girl Scout, we were out camping and we were looking at the stars, and my troop leader helped me understand that the stars are not just twinkly lights, but that they're planets and that they're stars and patterns called constellations. This is so fantastic, and I love that, and she taught me that. And so later on, when I was earning my science badge, she encouraged me to make a rocket because it had to do with space. And I'll be honest, it took me many times before I was successful to get the rocket to be successful, to go up into the sky. It took me at least 6 times, so that great perseverance. First attempt in learning, the first, keep trying. But I did it and had that success. I was so excited. I said to myself, I can do science and I can do math. So I became a rocket scientist at NASA. And Chelsea mentioned I worked on a mission called the Voyager 2 that went by this planet, Jupiter. So on my patch, that's Jupiter. And I really like that. My troop leaders that helped me see my potential, those 2 stars. And then this star there is for my mom, who became a troop leader for my sister. But because of Girl Scouting and learning how to be confident, learning how to talk to people to convince them sales, that taught me so much about what I was capable of, that I ended up becoming a rocket scientist working at NASA. And then I went to this place called Stanford University, and then I became an executive working at places like Apple Computer and IBM and Dell, which was really a great opportunity. And then I started a company and I sold it, and then I ended up being part of Girl Scouts, and now I'm the CEO of Girl Scouts. So I'm so grateful for Girl Scouts that allowed me to have all these wonderful opportunities. So I know that what you're learning in Girl Scouts is going to help you make friends. It helps build your confidence. One of the things I realize is those kind of memories you're having, like today, camp out, you'll remember that. And that's kind of the fun of life. I wanted to make sure that I also had some time for questions. So Chelsea, how about if we open it up for questions?
That sounds fantastic. So Sylvia, I want to let you know that we have girls here from across Miami. We've got girls from Coral Gables and Coconut Grove, Doral, Miami Springs. We've got girls from the Keys that are here. Marathon, I know, is in the house. Also, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Oklahoma City, Virginia, Atlanta, St. Louis, Wisconsin, LA, just down the street from you in LA. We've got girls from all over tonight. And I think one of the exciting things that's coming out of COVID, and that we're, Girl Scouts isn't, we're just doing it differently, is had that not happened, we never would have had girls from so many different parts of the United States stargazing together from telescopes all over the world, based out of Miami. So we're just, this is such a special event, and we're so happy that you're here. I have a question. I'm going to start with the first question.
Okay,
Come up
sure.
with some others. My question for you is, we just had something really exciting happen here in Florida 8 days ago, which was the SpaceX, the launch.
Right.
What can you share with us? What did you watch it? What were you thinking? How does that make you feel when you see that happening?
I get so excited. For me, because I think maybe it took me so many tries to get my rocket to leave the Earth, I kept thinking, what is keeping it on the ground? Why won't it go up? And so I became fascinated with how do you break gravity's grip? What is this invisible force that keeps things down? So one of the things I love best about a rocket launch is when you see how much fuel, I mean, it has to be a really long rocket. The reason is when it finally jettisons into space, it's actually the very tip of the rocket. That's the capsule where the astronauts are. The rest of that rocket is really the fuel that it needs to break gravity's grip. And so you'll see all that steam and air and water vaporize as it's launching. That's the part that it really excites me. And then also when they had the capture lock with the space station, that was really fun too.
That's fantastic. It's so, of course, we're proud Floridians. We're proud that it's happening here in our own, I guess for us, it's our front yard, but whatever, front yard, backyard, it's happening for us here in our own.
Yeah.
So we are lucky in Miami. You were here about 1.5 years ago for the book fair.
Yes.
The girls got to meet you. A few of them have already put in the box that they have your patch. Sophia from Troop 552 said she really liked your book, and what was it like writing it?
Sophia, thank you for that question. You know, I wrote the book because there's a lot of girls like you that I wanted to reach that maybe I wasn't going to meet, like I didn't get to meet all these girls that wanted my book. So I wanted to have that opportunity. And I will say that one of the things that writing that book is, you know, I'm an adult, and it was remembering all those things that happened as a kid. And sometimes when I wrote it, and even when I read the book now, when I read the section about my sister and when she got sick, I still get kind of emotional about it. So, you know, I really enjoyed when writing it, remembering what life was like. And for me as a kid, and remembering kind of the emotions that I had, the emotions I had about my friends, how I felt. You know, you'll read in the book that sometimes I had a very difficult relationship with my father. He really favored my brother all the time. And that's part of the Mexican heritage. And I really rebelled against that quite a bit. And as I was writing the book, it reminded me of those feelings.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that that's something that's, you know, in Girl Scouts, girls learn so many things, and that they can do so many things. And, you know, you've gone on to pursue a career in science and an executive and an author. I mean, it's just incredible. And that Girl Scout has been a theme throughout all of your experience and all of your career. That's fantastic. Now, if your dog happens to be around, Sylvia, Kim from Troop 1239 would welcome a view, because she asked if she could see your dog. Her silver project was about helping. So we've got some animal lovers.
Okay, let me see if I can whistle and see if she hears me.
Okay.
Let's see if she'll come out.
We'll see if she comes. We'll see if she comes. Now, there are a couple of questions. So can you clarify the difference between being an astronaut and being a rocket scientist?
Okay, good question. So rocket scientists, they're the people that figure out how to make the rockets and the spacecraft that the astronauts go in. The astronauts are sort of the pilots of those spacecrafts, and they go into space. I didn't ever want to be one of those people that went into space. I know a lot of times people want to be those people. I wanted to be one of the people that figured out, how do you get those rockets to get into space? How do you solve that challenge? Because that's a really big challenge. That's what I wanted. I know a lot of astronauts, and I really respect them. And I'll tell you, you know, that takes a lot of not just courage, but a lot of preparation. You have to be in really good shape as well. To be able to go up into space. One of the things that I did do was, as part of astronaut training, they let me try something, which is what they call centrifugal forces. And so you have to be able to withstand a lot of gravity's pressure on you. And I did that once, and I didn't do well. I threw up. I didn't do well. So I said, you know, it's a good thing I like rocket science and staying on ground to make things go up into space. And I'm, you know, being an astronaut, that's not what I wanted to do.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. One of the things you mentioned was, you know, the challenges that you had with your dad. And Could you talk a little bit about maybe, you know, some of the cultural issues that came into place for you growing up? I believe your mother was, your dad was not born in the States. You know, in my,
No.
over 50% of our community in Miami was born out of the country. So that's something that we really understand. We get it, because so many of our families come from all over, not just Latin America, the world. Could you talk a little bit about what that was like for you growing up?
Yeah, you know, I grew up in a Spanish-speaking household. We spoke Spanish, and we also we really lived paycheck to paycheck, and sometimes we ran out of money. And back then, where I grew up in Las Cruces, New Mexico, it was it was really challenging because there was a lot of prejudice towards Mexicans. And my family, sometimes we didn't have a lot of money. And I remember as a young girl going to look for apartments with my mom and being told because we were Mexicans, we couldn't live there. We ended up living in a part of town that only had dirt streets, and they didn't have very good water systems and hygiene systems. So as a result, my sister got meningitis, and she was born normal, but she got so sick that it changed her brain and she became developmentally disabled. But you know, in that area, it was pretty much all Spanish speakers in that area. And even though that bad thing happened, I remember there was just a great feeling of community. But we all spoke, you know, we all spoke Spanish in that area. But because that happened, my mom wanted to move from that area. We went to a different part of town. And instead of my neighbors being Sanchez and Gomez and Jimenez, they became the Glimboskis, the Shrams, the Stewarts. And it was really tough. And it put a lot of pressure on me. It put a lot of pressure on my parents. And my mom couldn't speak to our neighbors. But luckily I got involved in Girl Scouts, and my Girl Scout troop leader, they helped my mom learn English and help her become a US citizen. So I'm very grateful for that. But my father was a very traditional Mexican man, and I have an older brother. And so he very much favored my older brother. And that was really tough for me, that he had that kind of discrepancy. So it was really very, very challenging. You know, I'm grateful that I did make my peace with my dad, and now my older brother and I get along really well. But growing up, it was really challenging. You know, growing up in a Spanish-speaking household, having to learn a lot of things that were different. I still have a lot of family in Mexico. I have a lot of family still in New Mexico as well. And I'm very, very, very proud of my heritage. But, you know, there were a lot of challenges at that time as well. So I'm very grateful that I got into Girl Scouts and that it helped me develop my potential. And I got to live a life that has had all these amazing adventures, just like you can do.
That's fantastic. So thank you so much for sharing that part of your story. The hot topic in the chat box goes back to rockets. So
okay.
we're all over the place. We're going back and forth here. We're all over the place. So Ava from Troop 900 said, okay, we're going to test you. All right. This is the test. Okay. Ava from Troop 900 said, how do rockets go up?
How do rockets go up? Okay, really good. You know, you need to have a force that goes against an object. So that force coming down pushes the rocket up. So you have to have a lot of force. And you can really see there's different ways of doing force. So you can, like cars, sometimes the force that moves a car is electricity, or it could be gas. And so when you have a rocket, just imagine it's like maybe like a big gun pushing something down, and then that pushes the spaceship up into the atmosphere or into space.
It takes a lot of force.
And that's what's one of the things that is kind of stopping us from going to Mars, because not only do you need the force leaving Earth, you need the energy that pushes you in the direction to go to Mars. And you need a lot of that. That's why they're looking at things like nuclear energy and other things that can help push that rocket with so much speed that it can get all the way to Mars. Because like to get to the moon, we had to launch that rocket and had to have a lot of energy to escape Earth's gravity, but also to make it all the way to the moon.
So I had an incredible Girl Scout experience. My daughter's a Girl Scout, and with her troop, again, we're spoiled in Florida. We're very lucky. We got to go to the Kennedy Space Center and do an overnight experience and sleep underneath the Atlantis. It was incredible.
Mhm.
While we were there, there was an astronaut, and he spoke with us, and he showed us how many women astronauts were Girl Scouts, like of all, this great image of all of these female astronauts and how many of them had been Girl Scouts. One of the things he told all of the girls in the room was that, look at your mom, dad, look at the adults that are here. They are not going to Mars. They are not going to make it. It's not happening. They're too old. The technology doesn't exist. We're not going to make it. It's not happening for us. And then he pointed at the girls, the age of most of the girls that we have here tonight, and said, you girls, you are the ones. Do you think, Sylvia, do you think they're going to make it? You think we're going to make it in our girls' lifetime?
You know what? I have been told by 6 girls that they're going to be the first people to walk on Mars. So I do think that it is totally possible. But the challenge isn't just getting to Mars, it's coming back. I do think it's possible, but it's a huge challenge. It's not just getting there, it's making sure that you can come back. And I don't know if you've watched anything with the moon landings, but one of the things they had to figure out was once you're on the moon, how do you leave the moon? But there's so little gravity on the moon that you don't need to have as much energy. So that's why, you know how you see people, astronauts walk on the moon, you watch them sort of bounce around. That's because there really isn't a whole lot of gravity there, just a little bit of gravity, nothing like Earth's gravity. So to leave it, you don't need to have a big rocket. You just needed to have that lunar module to be able to leave the moon. So you don't have as much gravity on Mars, but you're still gonna have to figure out how do you get back. So it's both challenges. It's leaving Earth's gravity and getting enough energy to get to Mars, but it's also, how are you going to get back?
I share with you, though, the confidence that when they figure that out,
We'll be a Girl Scout. There'll be a Girl Scout.
Girl Scouts. They will be Girl Scouts. They will be Girl Scouts. Okay, we've got one final question before we introduce our next guest, and we hope you'll stick around for a few minutes with our next guest. But
Yes.
the question for you, Sylvia, is what part of your job do you like the best?
This is the favorite part of my job, is meeting girls and being, interacting with you, because you, just like that astronaut said, he believed the future was with the girls. One of those girls is going to go to Mars. That's what I believe. I'm so positive about the future that you're going to be creating. And that's why we work every day to give you the skills that you have and that you need so that you can create the world that you want to have. And I think especially at this time when it kind of, sometimes there's a lot of challenges going on, at Girl Scouts, we're working really hard to give you the skills that you're going to be able to create the change and develop the potential to live the life of your dreams, just like me. And that's my favorite part of Girl Scouts.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Sylvia. Now, I don't want you to leave because we want to introduce somebody, so stick around, please. We got to, did you come over?
I'm seeing if my dog is coming.
Okay, all right. So Lori Ross is now going to introduce our next guest, who's going to spend a little time chatting with Sylvia. We're so excited to have her. So Lori, if you could take it away for a few minutes here.
Sure. Our next guest is Dr. Mireya Mayor. Dr. Mayor is a conservationist, primatologist, television host, National Geographic explorer, and director of the Exploration and Science Communications Initiative in the College of Arts, Sciences, and Education at FIU. She's developing a program to help scientists effectively communicate complex topics in straightforward and exciting ways to government officials, news media, and the general public. Now, any of you who have completed the Junior Get Moving journey may recognize Dr. Mayor, because there's a story about her in that journey book. If you look on page 50, you'll see Dr. Mayor there holding a very, very small lemur in her hand. And I also understand that Dr. Mayor has always wanted to be a Girl Scout. We may have a surprise for her in a little bit. So let's welcome Dr. Mayor. We're so pleased you were able to join us tonight. And I'd like to introduce you to Chelsea Wilkerson, Girl Scouts of Tropical Florida CEO, and Sylvia Acevedo, Girl Scouts of the USA CEO.
Hi, nice to meet all of you. Thank you so much for having me tonight.
That's fantastic. Dr. Meyer, what an amazing life you live. This is fantastic. We're so excited to have you here tonight. And it's a real honor for me to meet you as well.
The honor is mine as well. Your story is incredible and inspiring. So thank you. And well, this is my first Girl Scout meeting. So this is really exciting for me.
I know. And I heard when you were growing up, you wanted to be a Girl Scout. And your parents didn't let you because they thought maybe there would be too many adventures. Little did they know your life would be an entire adventure.
That's right. So much like you, I grew up in a Spanish-speaking household. I actually grew up in Miami, in Little Havana. My parents are Cuban immigrants. And so as I was listening to your story, it just reminded me so much of really what my life was like growing up as a kid. And I didn't learn to speak English until I was in school, and culturally it was just very different. But I'll never forget, I asked my mom, I was the only daughter, right? Only child, Cuban immigrants. I asked my mom, can I join the Girl Scouts? And she said, no way, that is far too dangerous. And that was the end of the conversation. So yeah, little did she know that I would end up becoming somewhat of a professional Girl Scout, running around and basically living in the woods and exploring for my career path.
I know. I just am so excited about that. Well, you weren't a Girl Scout growing up. I think we have to do something about that. What do you think, Chelsea?
I think that we can take care of that right now, as a matter of fact. Dr. Meyer, do you have your little special delivery from yesterday?
I did get a special delivery, which I have here, and it had a note with it that said, do not open anything. So
Okay. So I'm going to walk you through. You're allowed now to open the first envelope.
Okay.
Wait,
there's a lot of envelopes. Hold
on.
Oh,
there's a lot of little, it'll go fast, but there are a lot of
numbered. They're all numbered. Let's see.
We have so many symbols and important things in Girl Scouts. So the first envelope is,
wow,
welcome to Girl Scouts.
Girl Scouts. Yay!
That is your membership tab, and with that you have a membership to WAGS, which is the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts, and your GSUSA membership. So that's what makes it official. You are now a member of Girl Scouts.
I'm speechless. Thank you so
now,
much.
if you'll open we're not done. This is just the beginning. If you'll open number 2.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, a bunch of badges.
Okay, so those are fun patches. There's a difference.
Okay, I don't even know the Girl Scout lingo. Here we go.
Yes.
Positive power.
Yay.
Courage. Inspire. Girl power. And planet saver.
Yay.
Yes.
Those are all fun patches. Now, if you'll go to number 3.
Okay.
All of these patches. So now you need to open number 3. I heard that.
Oh yes. Okay.
I heard that you were that you wanted a sash, that was important to you, that you part of your childhood that you didn't get, and so we wanted to make that dream come true. So
Thank you so much.
That you're now in Troop 319, which is our council code. So anytime we're reporting to GSUSA, that's how they know it's us. It's Council 319. And that is an older girl sash, and Girl Scouts wear on the front there are some badges already on this. I'm pretty sure you've probably earned those on your adventures through life. Those are badges that girls earn when they do official Girl Scout programs. And then the fun patches you have go on the back. So it's business in front and fun in the back. Scout uniform.
Okay. I love it. Thank you so much. It really is a dream come true. And there's more.
There's more. So now you got to open number 4.
Okay.
This is like the big, so we love patches at Girl Scouts.
Girl Scout Council. Oh, wow. The Sylvia Acevedo patch.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
The Sylvia. So we love patches so much, our CEOs have patches.
And I chatted with Chelsea, CEO. Love it.
So Sylvia's is all about science and exploration, and mine is about connecting and getting to know one another. So I chat with girls and they get the chat patch, and Sylvia, of course, talks to them about engineering and rocket science and incredible things. So now you have some patches. And finally, you can hold it up. Sylvia might have a guess of what this one is, but Sylvia can talk to you a little bit about what's in the next box, the next package.
Oh, phenomenal. Path to the Stars, your book.
Oh, yes, that's my book. Yes.
Thank you so much. Oh, and it's signed as well. Even better. I hope to meet you one day and you could inscribe it for me.
Well, thank you. Well, I hope you enjoy the book. I think, like you said, I really had a lot of aspirations, and I was grateful that Girl Scouts unleashed it. You obviously and are living a life of adventure, so that truly is a Girl Scout.
Thank you very much. No, this is really a lifelong dream come true, and my mom might be upset when I call her tonight and tell her that I'm officially a Girl Scout, but I'm still going to call her.
Good.
Hey, look, I did it.
Well, you can tell her there are a whole lot of very strong women behind you. We will make sure you are.
Right.
Thank you so much. Really.
You're so welcome. Thank you. Do you have any questions that the girls want to ask Sylvia and Dr. Mayor? Anything? I don't see anything.
Well, I know people were asking about the lemur that she had in her hand.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that earlier. So I always loved animals as a kid. And even though I didn't get to become a Girl Scout, that passion for animals propelled me to want to go and study them in the wild. And I was especially curious and passionate about animals that were critically endangered and that had never been studied before. And one of my guidelines for choosing places to go were places that were really remote and virtually unexplored. And so in doing that, I went off to initially to South America. I went to Guyana, where I studied monkeys there that had not been studied before. And then I read an article in Time magazine, and it was entitled "The 25 Most Endangered Primates," right? And there were two on there that they had no photographs of. And those were the two that captured my attention, because I thought, now why wouldn't they have photographs of them, just line drawings? So I did a little research, and it turned out that the reason that they didn't have photos is because they had never been studied in the wild. They were about to go extinct, and they hadn't even ever been photographed. So that's when I decided to go and study them. I went off to Madagascar. I was in a very isolated part in the northeastern region of Madagascar. And because it had not been explored before, I set up these small, they're called Sherman mammal traps. And basically you just, it's a little box, you put a little bit of bait in there, and then creatures will run in to eat the fruit or whatever you use to bait them. And then it closes up, and in the morning you open them up and you can see what sort of biodiversity you have there. And so one particular morning, I opened up this little box, and these two huge eyes were staring back up at me. Now, the reason they had two really large eyes is because they're nocturnal, and they live in Madagascar, and they looked different than anything else we'd ever seen. So we sort of thought, okay, we might have a new species here, but of course you can't just say that, you have to prove it. And so that led to many more expeditions of going and capturing these animals and taking genetic samples until we were able to confirm that, in fact, this was a brand new species to science, never been documented before. So I got to name it. I named it, the common name is Russ's mouse lemur. The scientific name is Microcebus mittermeieri. And I named it after a colleague and a mentor by the name of Dr. Russ Mittermeier, who is actually the previous winner of the Indianapolis Conservation Prize. And he was the one who gave me my real start, because in my background, and I'm not sure if this was actually mentioned, I took a very sort of weird path, let's say, into science and exploration. I was not only not a Girl Scout, right? So I had no camping experience whatsoever. I was also an NFL cheerleader for the Miami Dolphins. So not exactly what you would imagine an explorer doing. So when I first applied for grants, you know, people, other scientists would look at me like, there's no way, she has no camping experience, she's a cheerleader, she can't do this. And this professor by the name of Dr. Mittermeier, who was also at the time president of a conservation organization, he gave me my first grant. And he said, I know that you're going to go out there and you're going to, you know, find these lemurs that everyone else had failed at finding. And so he was the one who gave me my start. He was the reason that I was out in Madagascar and studying the lemurs. So I decided to name it after him for believing in me. And just to tell you, because I saw some questions popping up about the little mouse lemur, it does, in fact, if you haven't seen the picture, of course, you can search for it online, but it does fit in the palm of your hand, and it weighs less than 2 ounces, and it's considered the smallest primate in the world.
Wow.
Oh, that's incredible. So Dr. Mayor, since they didn't want you to be a Girl Scout, what did your family think about you going on to study anthropology?
Well, it's very funny because when I got the grant, which I couldn't believe I had gotten my first grant, that was when I was heading to South America, and I was going to one of the most unexplored remote regions of the Amazon. And when I told my mother this, she was like, absolutely not. There is no way. You've never left the country. You don't even have a passport. You've not been camping. What if you get sick? There's no hospitals out there. There's wild animals. There's poisonous snakes. I mean, she made the long list. We talked about it. I told her I was still going. And in fact, not in spite of those things, but because of those things. And I was very excited to go on my first adventure. And at first, she was upset. She cried quite a lot. She was sort of angry. But then in the traditional, and if you're Cuban, you might understand this, but in her way of showing me her support was she ironed all my field clothes. She ironed my field pants, my shirts. I mean, she made sure that I was gonna look very nice and neat and proper in the field. And I knew then that she was supporting me. And she has, all kidding aside, she has supported me my entire life. And it's funny, I became a National Geographic explorer, and I was also hired as their first female wildlife correspondent. And I was doing documentaries all over the world, working with all sorts of different animals. And when my mom started watching those TV documentaries, she came up to me one day and she said, now I get it. Now I understand why you want to be out there, what you're doing, you know, the fascination of discovery, the exploration, the learning about different cultures, all of those things. And so it got to the point where not only was she supportive, she was constantly asking me, when are you leaving? When are you going on your next adventure?
You know, Dr. Mayor, I have a question. And because a lot of girls have asked me this question, because I've also, you know, done no kind of adventure like you, but I've been to the Patagonia in Chile and Argentina and down to Tierra del Fuego and all that. But people say, doing things that are non-traditional, how do you get the courage? And girls ask me that question a lot. How do you get the courage to do something like that?
That's a great question. And I actually talk about that in my book, because I always thought of my mom as someone, you know, who was scared of these things, right? And then I started thinking of all the courageous acts that she had done leading up to her coming to this country. She and my grandmother and my grandfather and her sister and her brother had all left Cuba with nothing but the shirts on their backs. They left everything that they knew behind. They left family behind. And they got on a boat not knowing what was on the other side or how they were going to survive or what they were going to do when they got here. And they still did it, and they did it courageously. And they got to this country and they started from, you know, the bottom up, and they worked as hard as they could to support each other. And I just thought of the amount of courage that took to leave everything that you know and that you own and go to a country where you don't even speak the language. And so I grew up with 3 very strong women. I called them my 3 moms my entire life. And that was my mom and her sister, who's my aunt, and then my grandmother. And I have never met 3 stronger or more courageous women. And I suppose that's where it came from.
Great answer. Hey, Chelsea, any other questions from the girls?
Well, you know what? There's lots. They really want to see the lemur, but I'm assuming that you've probably left them in their home habitat and you don't keep them in your backyard there.
That's right. So when we capture the lemurs for study, we only hang on to them long enough to, measure them, weigh them, collect genetic samples, photograph them, take all the scientific information that we need, and then we release them back into the wild, which is where they belong. But as I said, if you Google mouse lemur, or if you search for my name, or if you go to my website, then you'll be able to see what a little mouse lemur looks like. But I guarantee it's one of the cutest animals out there.
I believe you. I'm gonna Google it. Well, first of all, I want to thank you both so much for joining us right now. This has been, when we were planning this event, I was like, if we can get Sylvia and Dr. Mayor together, I'll just be the fly on the wall and just watch them engage. I know there's going to be instant connection. And welcome to the Girl Scout family. I don't think that, you could ask for a warmer hug and a warmer welcome into Girl Scouting, Dr. Mayor. I mean,
it was definitely well worth the wait. I mean, if you're going to become a Girl Scout, especially at this point in my life, this is the way to do it. I'm truly honored and thrilled, and from the bottom of my heart, thank you. This really does mean a lot to me, and I'm going to wear all of these things very proudly.
It's great to hear. I know, Sylvia, you may need to jump off, so we are going to go stargazing, and if you want to. Sylvia's got to go. So Sylvia, thank you so much for joining.
Oh, thank you. Thank you to all the girls. I'm just so proud of you. I really do hope that you can see what's available to you in Girl Scouting and what great adventures that you have. So thank you for being part of Girl Scouts. Chelsea, thank you so much. Dr. Mayor, what an honor to have met you virtually. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Sylvia. Have a great weekend, Sylvia. And
thank you.
Now we're going to go stargazing. And so girls, hold on, don't go anywhere. I'm going to turn it back over to Lori, and she's going to walk us through the next segment. And Dr. Mayor, again, thank you so much. And hopefully you can stick around. I see you've got the tent up. You've got your.
I do. We're going to camp it tonight.
You are ready. All right.
I'm excited. Thank you.
All right, everybody. How amazing was that? Was that awesome? But we're not done with amazing yet. And wait until you meet our next guest. Dr. James Webb is a world-renowned astrophysicist and the director of the Stocker Astroscience Center. Now, he specializes in optical observations using large telescopes located around the world, and also NASA telescopes in the gamma ray, UV, and IR region of the spectrum. Dr. Webb has been at Florida International University for over 25 years. Tonight he has some help from his friend Nick. Remember Nick from the beginning of our program? Welcome, Dr. Webb. We're really excited to see that you have time to share with us this evening.
My pleasure. I'm excited about it.
So, Dr. Webb, lead us through what you're going to share with us tonight.
Okay, basically I'm going to talk a little bit about our observatory that we built on campus at Florida International University in Miami. We built an observatory so students and the general public could come in and appreciate the stars as much as I do. Look at the sky and look through telescopes. And it's really the best way to do it. So when I came to FIU, we didn't have an observatory. And I wasn't going to sit down and teach astronomy without actually being able to show people stars. It's like studying primates without actually going there and catching one and looking at it, trying to guess from a distance. So I wanted to get an observatory so we could actually let people see it. That's what it's called, the Stocker Astroscience Center in Florida National University. I designed it, raised money to build it, and we built it, and Works really well. So I'm going to take you guys on a virtual tour with the help of Nick. That's the observatory there. You can see the moon hanging in the sky. And you notice the round dome on top of the tower. That's where our telescope is. Our 24-inch telescope resides in that building, in that dome. But we're going to start out on the bottom floor because there's lots more to it than just the telescope. The place to learn astronomy, to get students interested in and wanting to learn more about astronomy. Hopefully all you girls out there have all looked through a telescope before. If you haven't, look around and try to find a local observatory once they open up again and go look through a telescope. Nothing like pictures we see from NASA telescopes are great, but actually seeing with your own eyes is really spectacular. So I found out that while I was trying to get the observatory built, I didn't waste my time. I went around and I looked at every different science center and observatory I could find. I made my wife go in with me, and I took notes for about 10 years. I took notes, coolest things. Every good observatory has a place where you walk in, entryway exhibition hall. You get inspired to learn more about astronomy. So this is our entryway exhibition hall. On the left, we have a display case displaying models. I also like to build models. I was a Cub Scout when I was a kid. I wasn't a Girl Scout, but a Cub Scout. And I like model building, so those are the rockets that took us to the moon the first time. You all may know we've just gotten back into the space game. We just sent 2 astronauts up to the International Space Station from American soil for the first time in a long time, so very exciting. The next TV screen you see on the wall there, that's actually a TV channel called the Stalker Astro Science Center channel. Not really a TV channel, it's just videos of images that we've made with our telescope, our students have made. So I have high school students, college students, and also had a middle school student working with me, taking images with the 24-inch telescope and putting them up on the video. And then the doors there lead into basically the lab room where all our undergraduates get to do astronomy labs, hands-on playing with astronomy data and things like that. Also a place for our star parties. When I got here, when I was growing up, when I was in my teens, I got to watch Carl Sagan's Cosmos when it was on TV for the first time. And I realized that if I ever got in a position to do public outreach, to teach everybody astronomy, not just college students, that's all I want to do. So ever since I got at FIU, I've been doing star parties and public programs. 29 years now ongoing. So we also hold star parties in there and give concerts. And that TV on the right-hand side displays Space Telescope, Hubble Space Telescope channel. You get new programs, 6-minute programs every night are funneled into our computer and we display them there. So students can come in there, sit down in these chairs for 6 minutes to learn a little bit about astronomy or the Earth. They not only look up, they also look down the satellites. And finally, we have a display case showing the history of telescopes. The one in the middle and the lower and the left is Isaac Newton's original telescope, that one. Down there is photographic equipment I used when I was a graduate student. Primitive by nowadays standards, but that's what we had to do. And the telescope in the top middle shelf, the James Webb Space Telescope. My name's James Webb, but it's not named after me. It's named after James E. Webb, the director of NASA when we landed on the moon. But I'll take full credit anyway. So it's going to be the most powerful telescope humans have ever built to observe the universe. That's just a little refracting telescope we have sitting there. And this poster on the right-hand side basically shows us different places we have telescopes. We have one in Chile. South America is at the bottom there. The mountains in Chile. We have one in Canary Islands off to the right-hand side of the picture. And one in Arizona. We control all 3 of those telescopes from this building. Before we leave this room, though, we can see that in the bottom for that's our mosaic. One of my trips was going to Hawaii to a science center. And the science center, called the Moa Science Center, I walked in and they had a 16-foot glass tile mosaic linking Polynesian culture to astronomy. I was so impressed. I stood there for like 20 minutes. Somebody, I think, finally came over and tested my pulse to make sure I was still okay. I was just transfixed by that. So I decided to find out where they got it. And so we had the same artist. When we got money for our telescope, we had the same artist make us a painting. This is the original painting. same company to do the tile floor. So that's our art in public places. On the ceiling of this building, let's go back to the ceiling, Nick. On the ceiling is Hubble Deep Space Image. Hubble Space Telescope did something really peculiar. It basically stared in one location in the sky for like 2 weeks. When the image came down, it had basically the most distant galaxies that humans have ever seen. And that's what is depicted on the ceiling. So as you're standing there looking up, you're looking out in the distant universe, back into time, near the origin of the universe. So it's really cool. I actually had people from Hubble Space Telescope come down and look at it and said, can't believe we never thought of doing that. We should have done that too. Yeah, so next I'd like to take you to the most interesting place probably on my FIU campus. It's called the Starship Control Room. So we control telescopes in Arizona, in Chile, in the Canary Islands, and also the one on the roof. So I wanted to have a telescope control room for all those telescopes. So all those computer screens you see there are all screens we use in controlling telescopes. The one on the left-hand side is where we were actually controlling the telescope in Kitt Peak. And on the right-hand side, when we control Cerro Tololo, there's one slightly out of the picture. We control the one in the Canary Islands. But right now I have on the big monitor in the front of the room, that's a picture of Powahii. How many people know what Powahii is? Anybody know that? Wish I could hear you. It's actually a supermassive black hole in the center of galaxies M87. For the first time in the end of last year, for the first time in human history, we've actually got an image of a supermassive black hole, center of a galaxy. It was called Powahii because it was named in Hawaii. Anyway, so this is where we control our telescopes. And it happens to look like a Starship bridge. That's not by accident. I actually designed it that way because I grew up watching Star Trek, the original Star Trek series. And so when I was designing the control room, I thought, this would be a really efficient way of doing it. It turns out it's the most efficient control room I've ever worked in. And also the coolest. Not only is it efficient to work in, it's also inspiring. You feel like you're walking into a starship. In fact, you are walking into a starship. That's where we examine the stars and have speakers around the walls. Because if you think about it, as astronomers, we're up all night. And we also have a day job teaching and things like that. We're up all night. So basically what we have to do is stay awake all night so we don't let our telescopes miss the object. So we have music playing all night long. So I sit in the captain's chair, my students sit in the controls, and I direct the nights of observations from my Starship captain's chair. A lot of fun. Also get
Dr. Webb, I'm
Yes.
sorry, this is Chelsea. I just want to interrupt for just 1 second.
Sure.
A couple of times there's somebody who has permission and that is scribbling and writing on the screen, and I want to ask whomever is doing that to please stop immediately. Remember, we are Girl Scouts here and we respect each other. Dr. Webb has put a lot of time into putting this presentation together, and we are so privileged and lucky to get access, this kind of insider access. So to whomever is doing that, please stop. It's disrespectful and it is not appropriate Girl Scout behavior. Thank you.
And also, it won't make me stop.
You just keep going. Thank you, Dr. Webb.
Okay, so that's the control room. It's really a cool place. People walk in there and they don't want to leave. I take tours through there and they just want to sit down. They relive their fantasies about flying in space. And but also it's a really efficient control room. So let's go up to the dome now. So let's go up to the top of the building. That's our telescope, 24-inch telescope. So it's in the dome to protect it from the weather. The dome opens up. So basically the slit down the center there basically opens up, and we'll have a video of that in a minute. The telescope is revealed to the night sky. So we have to protect it at all times because it's very sensitive. A 24-inch mirror in this round portion. And on the back of it is cameras. So we don't actually look through this telescope. We have cameras that look through it. We have filters that basically tell us information about the objects we look at. That's where we control the telescope on the bottom. Screen on the left, which I'll show you in a minute, how we can point the telescope. Screen on the right is where our camera is. So we basically sit down there and we can control the telescope all night long. or you can sit in the control room and control it, or I can sit at my home on my laptop and control the telescope. So, Nick, let's go back to the control room for 1 second. Because I forgot to mention something, the International Space Station. So we have a model of the International Space Station sitting out in the control room. You might say, why do we do that? Well, when I take tours through, most people don't realize we have that up there. That's a place where 6 people, I think 8 people right now, are orbiting around the Earth. They live and work up there. That couldn't have been done by one nation. It couldn't have been done by NASA, the United States. It couldn't be done by the European Space Agency, Russian Space Agency, or Japanese. It took the entire world to build that. So you can show you what incredible things we can do if we work together. That's basically a lesson in working together with everybody. And us, as human beings, we're responsible for all life on this planet. We work together, we can keep it good. If we don't, then there's problems. So the International Space Station is important to us.
That's a great message, Dr. Webb. That is a great message. Yeah.
I always feel I have to make that point because most people don't think that way. Is this a video, Nick?
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna watch see the dome's open right now. So wherever the telescope moves, the dome will follow it. So it's always looking out that slit. We have this video open in the daytime. It's usually not, we usually don't open in the daytime, but we want to get some video of the dome moving. So that's why we have it open. Few minutes, we're going to close the dome. You see, it's really not as effective not being there because the noise the dome makes when it rotates is really cool too. Wish we had a microphone in there. Everybody always asks me, how far can your telescope see? Well, actually, that's not a good question. The good question is, how faint can your telescope see? This telescope is much more powerful than its location because the light pollution in Miami restricts it more than the mirror size. There's a slit closing. It takes 3 or 4 minutes to close it. So we were hoping tonight it would be clear here in Miami so we could actually open the dome, see the telescope being in use. Unfortunately, it's been raining and cloudy, and it takes so long to open and close the dome, we can't do it. As water gets in the dome, it'll destroy the telescope and destroy the cameras. So we basically have to stop. Okay, so I want to go to my PowerPoint presentation now, right, Nick?
Correct. Chelsea, if you could have him spotlight him to share his screen.
I'm going to share my screen. Actually, before we go to the PowerPoint, I'm going to take you to the telescope controls. So this is how we control the telescope. This is the display you would see in one of those computer terminals. Can everybody see my screen? Are we good? Okay.
Yes.
So say I want to take you to Jupiter tonight. I double click on Jupiter, put Jupiter in here. Right ascension declination are the astronomers' ways of finding objects in the sky. Everybody knows about longitude and latitude, right? Each city on Earth has a longitude and latitude, either east or west longitude and north and south in latitude. Well, astronomers have put the same coordinate system on the sky. We stole that coordinate system, put it on the sky. We call it right ascension declination. If you tell me the right ascension declination of the object, I just press go to. And I can't do it right now because it's not in a good position. So the telescope won't let you point it where it's not, you can't point to the floor. That would destroy the telescope. The telescope is so smart that you try to point it somewhere where it shouldn't point, it'll just tell you, no, I'm not doing it. Refuses. Of course, we'd have to open the dome, do that up here. And then here are the filters. So to do science, we have particular filters. Instead of taking a color picture, we take black and white pictures. We have different colored filters. These are UV, VR, and I are basically astronomy filters, scientific filters. RGB and L are pretty picture filters. Pretty picture filters means there's beautiful pictures of things that I'm going to show you later. A lot of times taken with these filters, so you can. This is what it would look like if you could see it with your own eyes. Color vision. That's how we operate the telescope. So let's say we pointed the telescope somewhere. We go over to this screen. Now we're going to take a picture. So we set up the camera. I'm going to take a 2-second exposure. And as soon as it gets done taking the picture, it'll pop down here. It already came really fast. Take another one. It just changed, so that's picture 5. So you may say, well, that's pretty ugly. It doesn't look like much. That's because that's all noise. This is a picture of the Orion Nebula that I took a few nights ago. So this is in the constellation Orion. These are 4 stars that are in the process of being formed. This is the gas and dust out of which they formed. And this is a picture of the moon taken with a telescope. These are raw images just down from the, without being processed at all. That's what our moon looks like up close. So all these craters, these are caused by impacts. This is called a Maria. I wonder how many people out there know what Maria are. Maria are originally called oceans. There's no water on the moon, obviously. Basically, the lava plains caused by a large collision of an asteroid with the moon early in its process, in its youth, and it filled with lava in the bottom. These are all craters of impacts. We can actually study the placement of these craters and learn something about formation of the moon, and also the history of the Earth by studying the moon. That's why it's so important that we go back to the moon, because we can learn a lot about the Earth by studying the moon. This is an image I took of an object called a quasar. See all this background noise? That's all due to light pollution on campus. So if I could get everybody to shut off their lights for a night, this would all go away. And these are stars in our galaxy. These stars are just like the sun, only they're much further away. And this object right here is called a quasar. Quasars are supermassive black holes, centers of protogalaxies, galaxies in the process of formation. These are the objects I studied. So this is why I took this picture. Because all these stars would basically be constant brightness. This would be changing in brightness as a function of time. So as the night goes on, this thing will be fluctuating like a light bulb that's losing contact or something, fluctuating around. These stars will be very steady. So I try to figure out the physics behind what makes these things fluctuate in brightness. And so these are the types, the way we turn science into physics. We take in images like this, we measure how many photons, particles of light hit the image, how bright it is. And we use different types of computer programs to do that. This is one of the programs. So this is an image I took a few weeks ago. This is what it looked like when it came down from the telescope, raw image. After processing, this is what it looked like. This is called the Black Eye Galaxy. So basically, we try to take as much noise out of this as we can. We're left over with the galaxy and the stars. So we can measure the brightness of the stars of the galaxy. We can determine how many stars are in that galaxy, so we can determine physics out of this. Okay, let me go on forward then, start the PowerPoint, show you some more pretty pictures. This is called Visions of the Universe from the Hubble Space Telescope. Again, the reason I'm using the Hubble Space Telescope is because the pictures from Hubble are not to be beaten anywhere right now until the James Webb Space Telescope gets launched. Then they'll be better. So what do pictures of astronomical objects actually tell us? How do we figure things out from these pictures? This is how mathematics turns into science. So mathematics is basically we count things, we have laws of physics. And we use these laws of physics and knowledge from here on Earth, and we apply them to these beautiful pictures to try to get meaning out of them. So this is Kitt Peak National Observatory, and these are the largest ground-based telescopes on Earth. They're not nearly as powerful as Hubble. There's Hubble Space Telescope. It was launched in 1990, started observations, and people realized, wait a minute, images are really fuzzy. What's going on? Turns out that it was diagnosed with a problem called spherical aberration. I've got a little bit of aberration in my eyes. When I take my glasses off, everything turns fuzzy. And Hubble had the same problem. Its mirrors weren't properly made. So they tried to figure, can we fix it? What can we do? So in 2003, they sent up a pair of eyeglasses. They put on the eyeglasses, all of a sudden everything became sharp. Became the most powerful telescope in the world. So even scientific instruments have the same problems we have as human beings. So it's going to be living hopefully long enough until the James Webb Space Telescope gets launched next year to take its place. Why is it so powerful? Well, this picture shows us why it's so powerful. So basically, for all of human history, up until Galileo in when is that 1600s, we could observe the smallest detail we could see is 60 arc seconds. You might say, what's an arc second? Well, the full moon is basically 30 arc minutes. And one arc minutes is 60 arc seconds. So 1/30th of the full moon is an arc minute. And so that's what the human eye could resolve, about 1/30th of full moon. The entire human history up until Galileo first took a telescope, pointed to the sky. Well, I can see craters on the moon. I can see mountains on the moon. I can see moons around Jupiter. And subsequent 200 years, not much changed until Space Telescope got launched. All of a sudden, we went up from 3 arc seconds down to 0.05 arc seconds. 2 orders of magnitude more detail we could see. So it made all of our other pictures fuzzy. All of a sudden, they sharpened to clarity. This is what Hubble looked like before its eyeglasses, Galaxy and Hubble. This is what it looked like after its eyeglasses. A lot sharper picture, a lot more detail. This is the sharpest picture we've ever seen of a galaxy. Now, when I tell you about how far away these objects we're going to look at are, I'm going to use a unit called a light year. Not a year on a diet, as some people may think, get it light year. Anyway, it's basically the distance light travels in 1 Earth year. So the Earth starts out in its orbit around the sun. We turn on our flashlight. By the time Earth is made all the way around once, how far is that light gone? It's gone 6 trillion miles. It moves 186,000 miles per second in the vacuum of space. So 1 light year is 6 trillion miles. That's a really long way, right? Light years are important. Not only does it give us the distance, also it tells us how long ago the light left the object we're looking at. So you go out tonight and you look at a star that's 5 light years away, you don't see it as it was tonight, you see it as it was 5 years ago. You look at Mars tonight in the night sky, it's only a few light minutes away, so we're looking back into time only a few minutes. We look at a galaxy 2.4 million light years away, we have no idea what it looks like tonight, but we know what it looked like 2.4 million years ago. So we have to wait 2.4 million years ago in the future to see what it looked like tonight, really. So we're actually, as we look out into the universe further and further, we're looking further and further back into time. So it allows us to see the early universe. Some of these distant object quasars that I study are 6 billion light years away, which means the look back time is about 6 billion years. So we see it as they were 6 billion years ago. We think the universe is only about 12 billion years ago. So we think the sun formed about 5 billion years ago. So we see the quasar as it was before the sun existed, before the Earth existed, before anything like life on the Earth existed. Let's look at some images closer to home. This is planet Mars, the best picture we had from Earth. This is the best picture we have from Hubble Space Telescope. Of course, now we've landed things on Mars, spacecraft, so we have even better pictures, but this is what Space Telescope got us. You see these white places? Look like ice, right? You're right, it is ice. Frozen carbon dioxide and frozen water ice. Mars has ice on it. Mars has water on it, just like the Earth. Only the water can exist on the surface, just in the form of ice. The red color is because of all the iron oxide, but it has oxygen too. But Mars' atmosphere is very thin. You couldn't breathe it. You'd die if you got out there without life support systems. But it might have one time had a much thicker atmosphere because it has dry river beds and dry lake beds. So at one point in its history, it did have water, but it lost all of its water somehow. We don't know how, but we want to find out. Because that would be really valuable to know how a planet loses its atmosphere. We don't want that to happen to the Earth, right? I think everybody would agree that would be a bad thing. We think one thing that could happen is global warming, so we want to make sure that doesn't happen here on Earth. This is our poor dwarf planet Pluto. It used to be a planet, but then it got demoted. A lot of people were upset when Pluto got demoted, but for a very good reason. Turns out there were lots of other objects out there bigger than Pluto, orbiting just like Pluto. So instead of learning 9 planets, you'd have to learn like 16 planets. So they decided that Pluto shouldn't really be called a planet. It's not like a Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Mars, Earth, Venus, or Mercury. It's more like these other dwarf planets. So they made it the king of the dwarf planets. So it got demoted from being a planet, but it's the king of its own category, which is pretty good. This is a large moon called Charon. The really interesting thing about this moon, as Pluto rotates once, Charon orbits once. So if you were born there on Pluto, Charon would have been directly overhead. As long as you didn't leave your hometown, Pluto, the moon would always be visible directly overhead. If you were born on the other side of Pluto, you would never know your planet had a moon because it would never be in your sky. So it basically is what we call geocentric orbit. It always stays in the same place over the planet. These are two other smaller moons that Space Telescope found. Now let's go out into the galaxy. We live in a galaxy called the Milky Way galaxy. We've never seen our own galaxy from the outside, obviously. But we put together sort of what it looks like. This is a picture from the biggest ground-based telescope of what's called Eagle Nebula. This red color lets you know this is hydrogen gas. There's stars forming in this thing. Space Telescope looked at this little segment in here, and it showed these pillars called the pillars of life. There are stars in the process of formation in there. So this is stellar nursery. So if you go to a hospital, the nursery with little babies in the cribs, there are baby stars in these cribs. So this is, it takes stars millions of years to form and billions of years to live their lives. So we will never see these stars coming out of this crib, but we know they're in there forming. Stellar nursery. Here's a better picture of it, called M6 and M16. This is, go back one again. This is 7,000 light years away. So that's what it looked like 7,000 years ago. We don't know what it looks like tonight. That's what it looked like 7,000 years ago. This is a beautiful picture. Looks like an artist's drawing, right? But no, it's actually nature. Nature did this. Again, is gas and dust. We see lines of hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, silicon. The colors basically tell us are due to emission lines of different chemical elements. By studying the colors, we can tell what elements are there. We know where the nitrogen, the oxygen, the silicon, and the hydrogen is by looking at the colors. So these colors tell us about the physics of what's happening there. We know there are stars forming in these regions inside these, called the Omega Nebula. This is my favorite picture. This is a Space Telescope picture showing the entire lifetime in a star in one picture. Even though it takes one star billions of years to go through its lifetime, we see in this picture all different stages of evolution of a star. Inside here are stars in the solar nursery being formed. Here's a bunch of brand new middle-aged stars. It's like your baby sister or baby brother, your mom and dad. And this is your parents or your grandparents here. The star that's in the process of getting old. And the star actually blew off its outer layers. So there's all stages of stellar evolution in one picture. We can never see a star go through all stages because it takes too long. We can see different stars in different stages and put it together using the laws of physics and figure out what's going on. We see all these things happening. This is only 20,000 light years away, so this is what it looked like 20,000 years ago. Called the Cat's Eye Nebula. I have cats myself. I have one sitting here watching me do this interview. And I look in her eyes, and this is sort of what it looks like. Astronomers have great imaginations. And so this is a star embedded in here. It's basically blew off its outer layers. This is all the gas and dust. So this is what our solar system will look like in about 5 billion years after the sun dies. Yes, the sun will die in about 5 billion years. We have to be prepared for that. I said billion, not million or thousand or 100. 5 billion years. That's a long time in the future. The stars are not, don't exist. Another view of the Cat's Eye Nebula, even prettier. You can see more detail around the outer parts. And this is called the Helix Nebula. So there's a star inside here, blew off its outer layers. Hubble Space Telescope looked at that and show you this detail. These are grains of material that are basically got in the way of all this gas that's rushing out. and leaving streamlines behind. We can study the details of this star dying using Hubble Space Telescope. We're really curious. The central star in here is very unstable. You wouldn't want to be on a planet around that star because it's experiencing basically nuclear reactions on the surface, blowing material out, and that material comes out and hits this, causes this shell to change. We see this change over time. The central star is 65 times bigger than the sun, so 60 times more massive, 65 times more massive than the sun. It's a really big star, very unstable. It's a pretty picture. It's like a spirograph painting. Cat's eye again. There's a nebula star that's blew apart. That remind you of July 4th or New Year's Eve, right? Fireworks in the sky. Well, nature has really big fireworks. It's a star that exploded, basically died, and putting out all its gas and dust. There's a spirograph nebula. Wonder how many of you kids have ever had a spirograph? I grew up when I was probably your age. I got that for Christmas. One of my favorite toys. You have these little gears and you stick a pencil in there, and as you move it around inside the little frame, you draw pictures like this. I had no idea this really existed in nature until a Hubble Space Telescope. So if somebody raised their hand, maybe they have one of these at home. You can build your own nebula. There's some just really cool pictures of nebula out there. So nature is quite an artist, really. Now, scientists like to say that, nature is much more imaginative than humans. I mean, you read all the science fiction, you watch all the TV movies, they come up with really cool things. Nothing as cool as what we actually see out there, though. Look at other galaxies. This is what our galaxies would look like if we were on the outside looking in, we think anyway. If this were our galaxy, the Milky Way, this is actually the Andromeda Galaxy. If this were our galaxy, we don't live in the center, we live out here in the suburbs. It's really nice out here because stars are pretty far apart. If you lived in the center, the stars would be so close together, you would never have nighttime. There'd always be a bright star in your sky. Also, there's a supermassive black hole in there. So that's not a really good place to go. So we like living in the outskirts. So if this were downtown Miami, this would be West Kendall out here, suburbs of the galaxy. Really nice place out here. This is a whirlpool galaxy. This is a younger version of me many moons ago, observing that very same galaxy with Hubble Space Telescope. My picture isn't nearly as good as Hubble's, but I like mine anyway. That's me sitting at a telescope observing about 20 years ago. This is a Sombrero Galaxy. This is a galaxy basically that collided with another galaxy collision. So, oh, this is one galaxy, and then this disk is another galaxy. They smashed together. This is called a giant elliptical galaxy. So this is a giant elliptical galaxy, ground-based grace picture. And this Hubble Space Telescope picture is showing the inside of it. It's got a supermassive black hole in the core, shooting out these jets of material. So these are the types of things I study in my research. Try to figure out how this material is ejected out of the center of this galaxy, how fast it's moving, and what type of material it is. There's just another pretty picture of a galaxy with lit out on the outer edges. These galaxies are 114 million light years away from us. They're colliding. They're the first step of the collision. Again, this will take billions of years to happen. We won't ever see it come to completion, but we can see it beginning. This is a distance 300 million light years, two galaxies that already collided. And these are stars that are being thrown out of the galaxy. So galaxy collisions happen. Don't worry, we're not going to collide with another galaxy anytime soon. So it's the antenna, again, colliding galaxies. Strange things happen in the universe, merging galaxies. There's a cartwheel galaxy. This galaxy went right through the center of this other galaxy. That galaxy came through and left us disturbed galaxy behind. Really curious things out there in nature that without Space Telescope, we'd never known any of this stuff existed. And this is, I told you about this picture already. This is called a deep field image. This is what we have painted on the ceiling of the exhibition hall in the Stock Rasper Science Center. So you stand down on the glass tile mosaic and you look up, you're looking at this picture, looking out, all these are distant galaxies. Some of the furthest galaxies correspond 12 billion light years away. That means the light left those galaxies 12 billion years ago. You think the universe is only about 13 billion years old. So that allows us to look and see what galaxies look like early in the formation of the universe, way before humans existed, before the sun existed, before the earth existed. And more than 400 scientific papers have been published on this one image. That's how important it is. The James Webb Space Telescope, when it gets launched, will take better pictures than this. It'll be able to take us even further back into the beginning of the universe. We'll be able to find even more out. So that's a brief run through the entire universe. And there's the James Webb Space Telescope. I won't be sitting on it, but I'll be riding on its back. I'll be looking at the data coming down out from it. And it's going to be orbiting the sun beyond the orbit of the moon. So it'll be out in space by itself. And it's going to be really powerful. I can't wait till it gets launched. So let's hope that happens next year. So I wish I could hear all the girls' questions. You know, there's some questions coming in. I'd be happy to talk about it.
Yeah, actually, Dr. Webb, we do have a couple of questions. Lori, do we have a minute for a question or two?
Yes, absolutely.
Great.
Lori, do you want to ask one of them?
Yeah, one of the questions that came up a couple of times, Dr. Webb, is a couple of different girls would like to know what inspired you to work with space tools.
Basically, when I was a kid, I grew up when I was in high school when we walked on the moon. And I grew up watching Star Trek, and I grew up watching Cosmos. And when I was a young kid, up in Indiana, I mowed yards to get money. My father wouldn't give us an allowance, so I had to mow the yard to get any money. So I saved up my money and went to Kmart and got a Kmart special telescope. First night I was out, I pointed to a star in the sky, and it turned out to be Saturn. I saw the rings of Saturn. I was hooked. From then on, I knew I wanted to study astronomy. I just couldn't not study astronomy. It's the only thing I've ever wanted to do, so it was just an inspiration. I've never regretted it.
How old were you again?
I was probably 12 or 13.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. I did want to make one note of a comment that I saw one of the girls wrote in the chat as you were going through, taking us on the tour of the galaxy, of the universe. She said, "I don't think I've ever learned so much on a Zoom call." So, and there was a lot of cool, oh, that's beautiful, oh, that's so awesome. So thank you very much, Dr. Webb. That was amazing. That was really very cool. I know the girls enjoyed it. They've been commenting the whole time about all this.
Thank you for that, because that makes me feel good.
Yeah.
I usually like looking at my students' faces and other people's faces when I'm giving these talks, you know?
Yeah.
It's hard staring at the screen, staring at a picture of myself and doing this. That makes me feel good, so thanks for that.
Yes. So yeah, the girls were really excited by it. Thank you so much.
Any other questions? I'd be happy.
Let's see. Oh, there's one question here that says, you had mentioned something about galaxies crashing together. How does that happen?
All gravity. So all mass is attractive, and we used to think galaxies were so far away from each other that that couldn't happen. But we were totally wrong. So now we actually see galaxies getting too close together. The gravity forces them together, and they're so, they're made of stars and gas and dust. Gas and dust crashes together. The stars usually pass each other. But it's interesting studying these collisions because it's teaching us about the universe, teaching us about gravity. And of course, we deal with gravity here on Earth every day. We learn more about gravity by studying space than we do by studying it here on Earth, actually. A lot of people usually ask me during these talks, if you're interested in studying astronomy, what subjects should you study in school? Well, a lot of math and science, earth science, and usually high schools don't have astronomy. You have to wait to college for that, but if you have a high school with astronomy, take that. So a lot of math, because math is the language of science. And I usually make a comment about the difference between math and physics. So mathematics tells us that basically is the language of nature. So we have to make measurements, we have to make precise measurements, and use mathematical rules to put the observation together. But not all math represents our universe. Like Einstein's general theory of relativity tells us probably what could have happened before the universe began. But because we can never test that, to do science, you have to be able to make a prediction based on mathematics and then test it. So it's a hard process. You have to be patient and you have to work hard, but learn math as much as you can in physics and science. But it's very rewarding too.
That's awesome. There are a couple of comments here I want to share with you. Let's see. Sophia said to everyone, "We loved it. Thank you for your time and sharing all this interesting info with us, Dr. Webb." And Isabella said, "I'm going to a new school and there's a really cool science room with a ton of astronomy things. Really cool."
Good. That's great.
Yes. So it looks like everybody is very excited about this.
Once we get back to the university and be able to come in, the people who live around here can come and visit us. Or if you live somewhere else in the country and you're looking in, sure there are observatories and planetariums close to you. So as soon as things open back up again, go out and look through telescopes on your own.
That's right.
Pictures are great, but nothing beats seeing the rings of Saturn with your own eyes. That got me.
Yep. Very good. Thank you so much, Dr. Webb. I think what we're going to do now is we're going to move on to our campfire songs.
Okay. When you want me to play taps, just let me know and I'll be here.
Okay, all right. I think that Chelsea, do you want to introduce our song leader and do all that? And I think she's going to do one song with everybody and then we'll do taps. Taps is always what we do with Dr. Webb.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm happy to introduce our song leader. First, I want to echo Lori's appreciation, and so many girls in the chat box also have expressed appreciation and gratitude to you, Dr. Webb, for taking on this incredible adventure. What a night we've had. I mean, we've celebrated Hometown Heroes, we've made forts, we've had campfire dinners, we've interacted with our national CEO, with National Geographic explorers, with a world-renowned astrophysicist. We've gazed at the stars and looked at the galaxies. And now, I think at the conclusion of this, I think we're all ready to say good night. So Girl Scouts wrap up a busy day at the campsite by singing songs around a campfire, and so that's what we're going to do now. And we have a fantastic Girl Scout singer with us. Gabby is going to be our song leader, and so and I understand that Dr. Webb, you are a musician, and so Gabby's going to be doing some singing, and then you'll also be participating. Along with some of our songs. So I'm going to hand it to Gabby, right? That's what I'm doing. I'm handing it to Gabby and she's going to lead us on a song.
All right. Hi, everybody. Yep. So whenever we have our campsites, we usually have camp names. So my camp name is River. The song that we're going to sing is called Linger. And I felt like that was the best song for us to sing because it's a really nice way to wrap everything up. You can find all the songs in the activity booklet. So I encourage you to sing along and give me one moment. I need to open up the booklet so that I can make sure I sing it correctly. Are you ready? All right, here we go. I want to linger a little longer here with you. It's such a perfect night. It doesn't seem quite right that this should be my last with you. And come September, I will remember our scouting days of friendships true. And as the years go by, I'll think of you and sigh that it's good night and not goodbye. I want to linger a little longer here with you. All right, good job, Girl Scouts.
Woo! Good job, everybody. Thank you, Gabby. That was lovely. Feels like we're at the
great.
You got your fire behind you.
All right, Gabby.
It feels like it's there.
So now I think is our song going to sing taps, and I, Dr. Webb, we're going to have you play through the whole song so that everybody gets the tune if they don't know it, and then we'll join you at the top on the second time around. Okay? All right.
Second thing.
Ready? Day is done, come the sun, from the lakes, from the hills, from the sky. All is well, safely rest, and good night. Hopefully that was in sync. I'm not really sure if it was. I'm hoping it was. I think we did a good job. Thank you, Dr.
I think that was a great job. Thank you.
My pleasure. I wish I could sing that well. You're good.
Thank you.
Nice voice.
So I think, good night, Girl Scouts. Thank you all for joining us. I also think you should know that Dr. Webb is not only an amazing astrophysicist and astronomer, but he is a very talented musician. And I'm wondering if you would mind playing a song as we leave our campfire tonight.
Sure.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
It's called The Human Race.
Okay.
This is not a story of love found or love lost. This is a story of survival and its cost. From the ocean depths where volcanic energy rises, to amoebas and people and animals of all sizes. How nature works with its wondrous ways, and life goes on throughout the endless days. Life is a progression, a gauntlet, a race. All life, including humans, trying to keep the pace. When intelligence arose, we took the place. Protecting life on Earth, this is the human race. This is human race. Killer asteroids, hurricanes abound. How can we keep life on Earth safe and sound? Our intelligence and technology points the way, but then our selfishness and greed comes into play. Can we use our knowledge to sort out what is right, so life on Earth doesn't pass silently into the night? Life is a progression, a gauntlet, a race. All life, including humans, trying to keep the pace. When intelligence evolved, we took the place. Protecting life on Earth, this is the human race. This is human race. Is there any life out there in the vast universe that runs the same race and sings the same verse? They protect their environment, live up to their worth, or let their greed destroy their own Earth? What song can we sing so that everyone will listen? All life is precious and important to our mission. Life is a progression, a gauntlet, a race. All life, including humans, trying to keep the pace. When intelligence arose, we took the place of protecting life on Earth. This is the human race. This is Human race. Messed up my own song in there at the end. Okay, thanks.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Webb. What a treat. It's the perfect song to wrap up our campfire. I can't think of a better song for that.
All my songs have messages like that, because that's sort of what I grew up with. We're the most intelligent species on the earth, and I really enjoyed what the lady before with the National Geographic was talking about, going out and finding the little lemurs and stuff. And I think that stuff is so important that we care about other creatures, not just humans, but other life forms as well. We're responsible for everything on Earth now.
That's
Good
right.
message.
That's the perfect message. Well, Lori, I just want to say good night and sweet dreams to everyone. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for being part of the celebration for our hometown heroes and for all of you girls. It's dark out. It's 9:30. It's bedtime. I think it's time to, I see everyone, the girls you're tucking yourselves in your forts. Maybe it's time to turn off the twinkle lights, turn off the flashlights. It's a Saturday tomorrow morning, so everybody sleep in the morning, okay? That's all I have to say. Thank you all for everything. Good night and sweet dreams. And Lori, you want to close it out for us?
I do. Good night, Girl Scouts. Peace out. Thank you for coming.
Good night, everybody.
See you soon.
Good night.